Hi, my name is Karen Fabian and I am the founder of Bare Bones Yoga. I mentioned on Facebook last week that I've been doing in my own practice a lot of work on strengthening the hamstrings and the gluteal muscles, basically everything around the thigh. So if you think about it from an anatomical perspective, we're talking about the gluteal muscles. There's three: gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus. And here we're really focusing on the gluteus medius, the one in the middle. And this muscle is important on the outer hip for helping us stay even in our pelvis when we're lifted on one leg. So when you think about the movements we're doing when we're running, we're lifting the one foot and we don't want to let the hip drop. We want to keep the pelvis steady, so the glute medius helps us with that. And then of course the hamstrings, which help us push off and bend the knee. And then even muscles like the abductor. So these are muscles that draw the thigh away from the midline or the middle of the body. So things like on the outer hip all the way down the leg. If you're running, you maybe occasionally have had some tightness in one of these pieces of musculature called the iliotibial band or the IT band. And that begins higher up on the hip in a muscle called the tensor fasciae lata. And so we're really talking about movements where we pull the thigh away, where we bend the knee, or things that help us stabilize the pelvis as we're lifting one leg. So I'm going to give you a couple of movements that can help strengthen these muscles. What I'd suggest you do is start out with a handful of sun A's and then some sun B's, and then launch into the practice from the point I'm going to begin. All right, so coming into downward facing dog, bring your feet together, bend your knees, and jump forward. Lift halfway up and then fold. And then come into chair with your hands at your heart. Make sure your pelvis is level, meaning you're not tipped one way or the other. And draw the right knee up towards your chest. Steady here for a couple breaths. Now press that foot back, point the toe, and practice balancing evenly through your hips as you extend the leg back. Steady here for a couple more breaths. Straighten the standing leg and create an airplane shape. Take a couple breaths here, strengthening the thighs, squeezing the shoulder blades in behind you. Now bring your hands to your heart, bend your standing leg a little bit, and reach for the ground with your fingertips. If you have a block nearby or two, you could stick a block under each hand or push off the block with both hands. Bend the standing leg a little bit and lift the top heel up. Focus on internally rotating the thigh, so drawing the leg up in the air by focusing on that inner thigh, lifting the leg. Take one more breath here, and then release the leg down to meet the other. Other side, bend the knees, bring the hands to the heart, level the pelvis. Lift the left thigh up towards your chest, and then point the toe, push the foot back. Keep the right knee kind of soft here, bent, and then make an airplane, Dekasana. Straighten and stretch. Couple breaths here. Hands to your heart center, slightly bend the standing leg, tip down into a standing split. Turn your upper leg, just like a screw, rotate it. So the inner thigh is lifting that leg. I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you want to add a little challenge, you can grab your shin with one hand or both. Take one more breath there, and then release the top leg down, and work your way up to standing. Sweep up to the sky, take a big breath, and then hands to heart center. All right, so now from here, bend your knees, come back into that chair shape. Draw the right thigh up towards the chest, and then moving from your outer right hip, rotate that knee out to the right, but have the movement come from the hip, less the knee. Sink low into the hips. Reach forward with your arms. Go a little bit lower, and then release the foot down, sink a little bit lower, and then press up to stand. Reach up high, hands to the heart. Other side, bend your knees, draw the left leg up towards your chest, move from your outer left hip, flex the left foot, sit low. Stretch the arms forward. Sink a little bit lower. Couple breaths here. And then release the foot down. Sink a little bit lower. And then press up to the sky. Big breath in. And then hands to heart. All right, so now for this one, I'd highly recommend using a block. Set the block up so that your shoulder is directly over your wrist. And your block is pretty much in front of your right foot. Pretty clearly in front of the foot. Less like a half moon setup where you're a little lateral, a little out to the side. Now, from here, grab your left big toe and pull that thigh up towards your chest. And start to press that foot out to the side. If you want, you can bend the standing leg a little bit. Focus on lifting that leg up high. Take a big breath, and then release. All right, and now switching sides. Set the block so the shoulder's over the wrist. Grab the right big toe, hike the leg up, and then press the leg out to the side. Now see if you can lift a little bit more from the outer right thigh. Big breath, and then release down. And now from here, separate your feet a little bit, and just hang in ragdoll, catch breath. Take a full breath, and exhale. And then walk your hands forward, step back into downward facing dog. Take a couple of moves with the legs back and forth. Nice long stretch. And then from here, bring your feet together, lift the right leg up to the sky, and then step. Right foot forward, bend the back knee, reach up high. Take a big, huge breath, and then release down. Step back to down dog. Bring your feet together, lift your left leg to the sky, take a big breath, and then step forward, drop your back knee, reach up high. Take a big full breath, and then release your hands down, tuck your back toes, pick up your left foot, and step back. Bring your feet up towards your hands, bring them together, and then come up all the way, sweep up high, hands to your heart center. So that is a really brief practice you can tack on to a front end of sun salutations to warm up. I went a little bit faster than you might go typically if you practiced on your own, but it'll give you some ideas of some of the poses you can do to strengthen the muscles of the outer thigh, outer hip, and hamstrings. This will help give you more power as you run to push off. And I've noticed in my own running, I don't tire as easily, and it allows me to kind of move with a little more steadiness without any kind of clunking in the hips. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a note. My website is barebonesyoga.com. Namaste.